What's up, everybody? This is Jeremy Siskind. I recently came out with this new album called Songs of Rebirth, which you can stream anywhere. And you guys know my books, Playing Solo Jazz Piano and Jazz Piano Fundamentals. I've been getting a lot of nice orders on jeremysiskind.com lately, so thank you for everybody who's ordering. And you can get a signed copy of those books at my website, jeremysiskind.com, if you'd like one. Today I want to talk about something I've been thinking about for a while. Of course, I'm a big fan of Bill Evans, like basically anybody in the jazz world is. And I've been thinking a lot about how he uses triplets differently and with maybe more sophistication than a lot of other pianists. This video is a little bit of an experiment. I'm going to show you some theories that I have, and I'll be really curious to hear your feedback. So let's dive in. Let's experiment together. You can let me know what you think and tell me what I got wrong. So, triplets, of course, we know that in jazz, eighth notes become swung eighths. We have this formula that we're taught from a very young age, and for a lot of people, this is like the only thing that they know about swing, which is that two eighth notes equal basically a quarter note triplet and an eighth note triplet, or sometimes it's presented like this with three eighth note triplets and the first two tied together. And swing is more complicated than that, but that is generally true. That's the way these things work. But what about the other things that we can do with triplets? Okay, so first of all, I just want to brainstorm. If we have one note per triplet, two notes per triplet, and then obviously we could have three notes per triplet, right? Which would be just three triplets. And here I'm thinking about eighth note triplets. Although maybe we'll talk a little bit about quarter note triplets later. So if we have one note per triplet, obviously we could have just a quarter note. But we could also have just a note on the second triplet, which is kind of interesting. So if we're thinking 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Most of us probably don't use that. And then we could also have a note just on the third triplet. If we're in a swing context, then this is just an offbeat eighth note. If we're playing straight eighth notes, though, then this is something that wouldn't be in the normal meter. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, I'm doing it wrong. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Listen for the difference one more time. Here's the second triplet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The third triplet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Kind of interesting, right? What can we do with two notes? So, we already said that we could do the swing rhythm, right? Again, not that interesting if we're in swing, but if we are in straight eighths, then there's some potential there. We could also play the first two notes. Da-da, da-da, da-da. This is something Bill Evans does a lot. I call this reverse swing. This is kind of a common phrase ending. So first I'll just play it for you. 1, 2, 3. How would you use that as a phrase ending? Oftentimes it's that and then just a quarter note. So it's hard to tell this apart from like a 16th note and then a dotted eighth. Da 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 da. But it actually really helps to reinforce that 1280 triplet-y feel. It's also possible, I guess our third possible solution here would be to rest on the beat and then have two triplets. Okay, so we have these let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, including the 3 note ways that we can play triplets. They're not that interesting on their own, although they're kind of interesting. But when we start combining them, that's where we get kind of Bill Evans's brilliance in terms of using triplets. So let's say, for example, I'm going to take the second one note triplet possibility, and then I'm going to bring that into reverse swing. By the way, I should label this. That would be just regular swing. Da, da, da. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, da, da. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Okay, pretty interesting. I don't hate it. Or what if we start with that same phrase beginning, and then it'll end up basically being a tie. We'll do that third 2-note group. So we're only playing on the second and third partial, we sometimes say, of the triplets, right? The second and third note of the triplet. Kind of interesting. Or what if we take these two-note triplets and we sequence those? So first reverse swing, and then we'll tie that in. So here we're just using some parts of the triplet that we might not usually use. Let's do a couple more because it's fun experimenting. If you're bored, obviously, you don't have to keep watching. So now we're starting on that third partial of the triplet. And so the interesting thing that happens is that these start also interacting with what we think of as quarter note triplets. Okay, so if we have quarter note triplets, I don't know if you've ever thought about this. This is really getting into the weeds, you guys. This is each quarter note triplet basically equals 2 eighth note triplets. So here's your eighth note triplets. And so this would basically be like you've tied together every 2 eighth note triplets. So what's interesting is that the first one is like the swung eighth notes. So when we're swinging eighth notes, we're actually so close to quarter note triplets, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So swing and quarter note triplets are also somewhat the same. So you do hear Bill Evans using triplets and quarter note triplets. Now, when you hear Bill using quarter note triplets, if I may call him Bill, one of the things that gets really interesting is that he's rarely playing things that are grouped in groups of 3. I might have to sneeze. Please pardon me if I do. Thank you. So I think, when a more student pianist uses quarter note triplets, they might go 1, 2, 3, 4. What am I doing? I'm changing direction all the time on the first beat. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm really emphasizing the grouping of three, the threeness of it. What Bill usually does is he will obscure that, and he will play, could be groups of 4. 1, 2, 3, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you can hear me counting 3, but the groupings are 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is, we call it a hemiola, that the rhythmic grouping is not fitting evenly into the rhythmic system. So listen again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. He's probably not doing anything that obvious, though. He's usually much subtler about it. Maybe he'll go up and down. Or he'll do groups of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You really have to divide your brain in half in order to do that, right? So when you hear Bill doing triplets, he's usually forming these phrases that don't just simply go. He's going 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice I'm also adding rests and holds. So just like in the eighth note triplets, we could do all of these same things in quarter note triplets. We're just going to have more of a feeling of stretching in those quarter note triplets. All right, this YouTube video, maybe it's been a little bit of a mess. But hopefully it's at least given you some ideas as to how you can be a little bit more like Bill Evans in terms of your rhythmic vocabulary and using these triplets in all these different ways. There's so many more rhythms that are possible than you might be aware of if you haven't thought of these things before. If you enjoyed this, you're a good person. And if you enjoyed this, you'll really like my books, Jazz Piano Fundamentals, Playing Solo Jazz Piano, and check out my album, Songs of Rebirth, available wherever you stream music. Thanks, stick around. I'll be more organized in the next thing. Bye.